Yo, 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 word is bond. Peace and love, family, divine light, primordial darkness, family. Now, this bill is going to be about the esotericism of the milk and honey, aka known as the pineal gland, pituitary gland, or the cerebral spinal fluid, as well as the spine fluid. Let's get into it, family. Also, I'm going to be making the connection to the golden dome theory. We're just going to call it the golden dome theory. But we all know it's about the pineal gland, the golden solar frequency of the 9 ether beings, as well as the celestial beings. Let's get into it. It was known that the human being herself was the key to the riddle of life, the melanated goddess, right? The Nubian goddess. She was a living image of the divine plan, the blueprint, the human body, not the individual, but rather the house of the individual, right? She was thought to have been the tomb of the sacred principle, the temple, because we all know in yoga, right, the spine is considered the center of our sacred anatomy, a ladder to the divine. To the early anatomists, the upper vertebrae of the spine was known as the atlas, which Atlas in ancient Greek mythology was a man holding the water, right, which is symbolic to the age of Aquarius. The truth, the primordial waters of our mother, right? Because in the womb, the first part of the fetus is known to develop in the neural tube, right? From this tube, the spine is manifested downwards, carrying the central nervous system along with it. The central nervous system is a tree of life, once you understand, right? Which can be thought of as electrical wires that run the machine that is your body. The then branches off to form all the vital organs. We're talking about the kundalini, right? The serpent, right? The ophiuchus, the regenerative spinal fire fluid that goes from the base of the spine and rises up, right? The cerebral spinal fluid bathes the outside of the brain, right? And then the cavities within it as well. The cavities are known as ventricles, right? Then the fluid travels down the hollow central canal of the spinal cord and saturates the outside of the spinal cord as well, which is the second lumbar spinal vertebrae, right? Then the cerebral fluid continues to move down through the S2, which is the second sacral spinal nerve, where the root chakra and the kundalini energy, esoterically speaking, resides, right? Now, keep in mind, reflections, this is all a symbolic, transformative, structured process, right, of how the cerebral spinal fluid and the spinal fluid processes itself within our anatomy, right, our anatomical structure, which is also symbolic to the milk and honey, which is the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, with the sacred fluids, the secreted fluids, right? Now, once you understand that many people spend most of their lives knowing very little about it, right? About this esotericism, right? About our bodies, about the glands in our bodies, right? The third eye and such. So the role of the cerebral spinal fluid is huge, right? It is a vehicle for the transmission of information in the brain to the brain, the transport of nutrients and hormones to the central nervous system, right? Which is again a tree of life, an instructor of stem cells on whether to proliferate or differentiate, a manager of circadian rhythms, as well as a regulator of appetite, right? An eliminator of waste, as well as a shock absorber for the brain, pineal, and the pituitary glands. You understand? So among the brain cavities mentioned, right, that I mentioned, the third ventricle, that is the midline space of the head, right, which is in the center, which is surrounded by the pituitary gland in the front, the pineal gland in the back, the hypothalamus gland and thalamus gland on both sides, right? The Ankh, right, the Holy Trinity, man, woman, and children, right? Golgotha, right, the heavens and the head, right, all connecting to the golden dome. Ashe? Family, I gotta keep dropping this science, is esotericism, right? This alchemical processes so that we can understand, right? This is way more spiritual, way more of a mental aspect to look at it from than anything physical, right? So when you do open your third eye, right, or the Ajna chakra, right, it's a spiritual practice known to enhance intuition and psychic abilities. Signs of a third eye awakening can include heightened intuition, vivid dreams, increased sensitivity to energies, as well as enhanced psychic abilities and telekinetic and epikinetic abilities, right? Tapping into the Akashic records and things like that. Because when the pineal gland is activated, it releases melatonin. such as or and hormones, right, that regulate sleep patterns and circadian rhythms. Because we have microscopic crystals in the brain, right, which are magnetite and calcite crystals, which form iron oxide and are found in most areas of the brain as well, including the cerebellum, brainstem as well, right? So this is how you know when you have a calcified pineal gland, right? Because these are common things, right? Sleep disturbances, insomnia, disrupted sleep patterns, and things like that. So you can tell when your pineal gland is truly not tapped in, right? When it's calcified due to the food, the beryllium in the air, all this poison that we're breathing in, right? And eating and consuming and watching, right? The radio signal transmissions and such. They're killing us, family. But that's why it's imperative to have an awakening, right? With the piezoelectric properties of calcite, microcrystals found in the pineal gland, which is linked to non-central symmetrical crystal structure, right? Most of these crystals, the microscopic crystals, are found primarily in the pineal tissue, right? And the second harmonic generation measurements have confirmed this as well, with the piezoelectric charges in these structures. And calcite crystals are a form of calcium carbonate as well, family. Another reason why when you cry, your tears taste salty, right? Why we have natural calcium within our bodies and our pineal glands. And why crystals also resemble salt when they're chipped, right? Star dust, family. Overstand the crystalline frequency, crystalline energy. It may seem physical, present itself as physical, but it's really not, right? Spiritual energy. We are crystalline beings, right? 666, soon to be activated and turned to 616, right? Because it's a process, a transformative process of ascension, right? When our barothoric glands, which are in the hippocampus layer of the brain, gets activated, family, we will turn into crystalline beings in these higher dimensions. These crystals also contain carbon, right, which is the building block of all civilization in the universe, right? Everything has carbon at base form, right? Which means that our pineal glands, our third eye, our black dots are, which connects to the soul, right? The solar frequencies, right, of the universe, of the cosmic mother. See, the draconian reptilians, the malevolent species that are controlling this planet, right? They don't want us to activate the endocrine system, right? Which is connected to the pineal gland and the brain, right? Which is in direct correlation to the agenda of the Golden Dome, right? They want to block out the solar intrinsic frequencies so that we don't activate, we don't receive more crystalline energy, right? We don't receive more gamma radiation. All of these neutrinos particles, which are Holy Ghost particles, which activates the medulla oblongata, which activates every ventricle, which activates the milk and honey, which is the secreted fluids of the cerebrospinal fluid, as well as the spinal fluid, which is again the milk and honey, family. We are in the golden age, family. Let's continue to break down this knowledge, understand our anatomy, family, and rise with the divine. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Peace, guys and goddesses. Word up.
Who you are. You're so powerful, they have whole departments to study your ass. CIA released a declassified document that states the human body is liquid crystals. Oh, Christians, the human body must be demonic too then. And this is not metaphorically, this is not symbolically, this is energetically and structurally.
Again, family, the melanated beings are literally the epitome of liquid crystal technology. So what are you going to do, family? Use your technology, right? This is divine essence of the gods. We are an emulation of the universe, family. As the vibration of the planet continues to rise, let's do the same, family. Stay balanced. Peace and love. Ashe always, crystalline beings. Love.